Hey guys, welcome back. This is Michael, and let's take a look at some nifty crypto stuff. So today I want to just make a case for crypto, Bitcoin in particular, using three charts. The future looking chart, a historical looking chart, and an adoption rate chart. So let's just jump in. So the first one I want to take a look at is the Bitcoin stock to flow. I talk about this chart a lot, and it's been around in the crypto space for a while. But it's also been in traditional finance for quite a while. So the algorithm is used in such things as oil and gold, diamonds, copper, anything that you consider a commodity, we use a stock to flow. And it's pretty simple. Up in the left-hand side here, you see that we have stock, which is what we know about or what is above ground. So how many diamonds do we have today? And flow is the amount of diamonds that are yet to be produced or to dug up. Gold, we know how much gold we have above ground today. And then flow is the amount of gold that we can still dig up, that remains to be dug up. So today, the scarcest commodity on planet Earth is gold at a 60-to-1 ratio. We call that the stock to flow ratio. Today, Bitcoin stock to flow ratio is 45-to-1. And if you look at it on a chart, you would see that these being charted out, that the black line represents the mean of the stock to flow algorithm. And in 2022, you see that the mean is around $100,000 is where Bitcoin is expected to be, and that's the mean. We are currently minus one standard deviation below the mean today. That mean, when Bitcoin has its next halving in 2024, we expect that mean to move to the next step, which is close to $1 million. And that's because the stock to flow ratio of Bitcoin after that halving will become 90-to-1, meaning that it will be the most scarcest commodity on planet Earth as a digital asset. So when we talk about technology and what's changing, we fully expect, and the way that I invest today, and the reason that I'm in the game today, is I fully expect that Bitcoin will be somewhere in the ballpark of $1 million per Bitcoin by the year 2026, 2027. But more importantly than that, there's one more halving cycle that Bitcoin has left, and that's in 2028. And at that point, we expect it to step up again, and there's potential that one Bitcoin could be worth $10 million. So if you hold one Bitcoin, and you were to buy one Bitcoin today at $44,000, and you were to hold it just 8 years, you potentially could be sitting on $10 million. So that's a big case. The next chart is a historical chart. And this chart looks at Bitcoin in the past. It runs a regression line through the chart of Bitcoin and what it's produced in the past. And it comes up with a line that you can pretty much look at and say, barring any tragedy in the world, that we can see roughly where Bitcoin's heading to and where it's going to go. And so it'll have its volatility, it's up and down. We know that that's going to happen. But if you hold on to Bitcoin, it even shows in the regression line that by 2025, 2026, you're still going to be approaching that $1 million mark. So it's another piece looking in the past of why Bitcoin, we are so bullish on Bitcoin. And the last one, and let me kind of get my face out of the way here. The last one is the SCurve analysis. Now, this is used in technology, and this is really from any technology, even from products that are brought up, that people can buy products that are too early, that haven't quite hit the S-curve yet, where general adoption is happening with that technology. So let's take electric cars. Electric cars have been around for a while. Tesla has been around for a while, but it hasn't quite hit its S-curve yet. But we're starting to see it hit its S-curve, and then we're going to see everybody starting to adopt electric vehicles. And then there's going to come a point where people are going to buy electric vehicles, and that's really all they're going to buy. And so there's no more growth because it's going to stay the same as automobiles are today. So for the most part, this is the S-curve analysis for Bitcoin, starting from 2010, moving all the way through in 2019. You were probably early, and it's great to be early. There's nothing wrong with being early as long as you want to hold it, but you're not going to make a lot of money when you're sitting on it in the early stages. But in 2019 is when Bitcoin began its S-curve trend upwards. And today we're sitting at about 20 to 25% adoption, and we can do that by counting the amount of wallets that are on chain. And so we know that the adoption rate is going to be over 100% today of Bitcoin And we can see the adoption curve, or the S curve, moving north. So when I'm passionate with my friends or with my boomers and say, hey, there's only a limited amount of time that you can get in and be in a solid position before you start hitting that next wave. And that's really only another year or two until we start hitting the next wave. And that's called the shakeout phase. And the shakeout phase is when we start to shake out all the players in the crypto space that are not good players, right? That are just bad projects. And we saw this in the internet stage as well. We saw in the internet stage that, we shook out things like, the, Earthlink, browser. We don't see AOL anymore. You don't see MySpace. We can go down the list of failed internet projects, right? That when the shakeout phase came, that the entire industry kind of went with the bigger players, or the people who are making the most progress. We know this is going to happen. There are a lot of players coming in, whether it be in NFTs or DeFi or, gaming or exchanges, that there's a lot of players coming in, and they're all trying to get their foot in the door. They're all vying for funding, and they're trying to move in a direction that they will be able to get through the shakeout phase. And we know that that's coming. So we are in today in pre-shakeout phase. Bitcoin is the biggest holding because we know that Bitcoin is likely going to make it through that shakeout phase. Ethereum looks like it potentially will get through that shakeout phase as well, but we don't know who the other players are. But today is the day that you need to get involved in crypto. And if you haven't already looked into it, do your own research, but that's it. So take this information, do what you want with it, but make your next move.